journey to become part of a dedication to build a generation of excellence and at the same time to develop the nation. Here we are, Bhayangkara, Jakarta Raya University.
Berdiri sejak 1995, Ubara Jaya merupakan refleksi Polri dalam memberikan sumbangsih pada dunia pendidikan di Indonesia. Visi kami adalah terwujudnya Universitas Bhayangkara Jakarta Raya sebagai universitas unggulan di tingkat nasional dan internasional. Dengan kerja keras, kerja cerdas, kerja berkualitas, kerja ikhlas, dan kerja tuntas, mewujudkan cita-cita menjadi universitas kelas dunia.
Under Bratal Bhakti Foundation, Ubara Jaya became the first private university in Indonesia with a security-based curriculum.
Universitas ini memberikan kontribusi kepada dunia pendidikan, kepada masyarakat luas, dan juga khususnya di dalam membantu agar tugas-tugas kepolisian yang ke depan ini kan semakin kompleks ya. Universitas Bhayangkara Jawa ini juga diharapkan memberikan kontribusi di dalam memahami ancaman-ancaman kejahatan, ancaman ketertiban, baik di dunia nyata maupun di dunia maya. Sehingga dengan demikian lulusannya nanti, di samping dia ahli pada bidangnya masing-masing, mereka sudah memiliki juga bekal pengetahuan untuk meredam masalah-masalah sosial yang bisa terjadi di lingkungan kerjanya nanti.
Ubara Jaya has 7 faculties with 12 graduate programs. Faculty of Engineering, Faculty of Law, Faculty of Economics and Business, Faculty of Communication, Faculty of Psychology, Faculty of Education, and Faculty of Computer Science. While postgraduate study programs include Master of Management Science and Master of Law. Soon, there will be Master of Communication Science study program. In the near future, doctoral study programs in economics and law will soon be also started. In accordance with the continuous growth of various scientific studies, various facilities has been built as supporting infrastructures. auditorium, clinic, Academic of Ubarajaya. And the Mosque Ulul Albab. In accordance with the continuous growth of various scientific studies, various facilities have been built as supporting infrastructures. 2 study centers owned by Ubarajaya currently have also contributed in various strategic policies making at the national level. It is Policy and Anti-Corruption Study Center, as well as National Security Study Center. To meet the needs of scientific development and the needs of the industrial world and the labor market, our lecturers consist of various academicians to practitioners who are very competent in their fields.
Secara teori kan tentu unggul ya, tetapi lebih dari itu kita memberikan kebanggaan kepada generasi yang akan datang bahwa dahulu senior Anda, Bapak-Bapak senior, telah banyak memperhatikan masalah pendidikan untuk kepentingan bangsa dan negara, bukan untuk kepentingan kepolisian saja. Jadi dalam hal ini keluarga besar Purnawirawan Polri telah ikut serta dalam salah satu tujuan bernegara, mencerdaskan kehidupan bangsa.
To ensure an excellent generation who are free from drugs abuse, Ubarajaya is collaborating with the National Narcotics Agency or BNN in street selection of prospective students. Various accelerations in academic fields and continuous improvement of the system is Ubarajaya's commitment in providing the best service for the entire academic community. For sustaining the positions and strengthening the functions of universities, various cooperations and partnerships are established with various parties, both at regional and international levels. While the existence of professional certification institutions or LSP P1 is intended to ensure the quality of competitive graduates, this is in accordance with the continuous and strong commitment to make the accreditation of the institution as a leading university.
Pendidikan tinggi seperti halnya perjalanan mendaki gunung. Karena dengan mendaki gunung, hakikatnya adalah sebuah perjalanan terjal dan untuk mencapai puncaknya harus diiringi dengan tekad semangat yang penuh determinasi. Inilah perjalanan kami, Ubarajaya, untuk melahirkan generasi unggul, berkarakter, dan berwawasan kebangsaan. Bentuk sumbangsih kami untuk kemajuan dunia pendidikan di Indonesia.
To support the students, variety of scholarships are provided. Even various facilities are established to support students' interests and talents.
Ubarajaya untuk saya pribadi adalah bukan hanya sekedar kampus, tapi sudah menjadi rumah kedua. Ubarajaya adalah wadah bagi saya menunjukkan ekspresi, mengungkapkan aspirasi, dan tempat untuk saya dilatih, ditempa, dididik, dan juga diberikan fasilitas dengan cara berefek dunia akademik, utamanya dunia akademik di Indonesia.
Jadi sebagai salah satu mahasiswa yang pastinya selalu memimpikan dan membayangkan untuk berkuliah di tempat yang adil dan juga yang mampu memberikan wadah kepada pribadi yang bangun jejaring dan networking dengan teman dan juga dengan dosen-dosen di universitas. Dan di Ubarajaya, Universitas Bhayangkara Jakarta Raya, saya menemukan tempatnya.
Not only achieving success in the classrooms, various positive achievements have been continuously attained as service and dedication to the country. We are Bhayangkara Jakarta Raya University. Excellent campus for the future of the nation. For God, family, nation, and country. A long journey to become part of a dedication, to build a generation of excellence, and at the same time to develop the nation. Here we are, Bhayangkara Jakarta Raya University.
Berdiri sejak 1995, Raya merupakan refleksi Polri dalam memberikan sumbangsih pada dunia pendidikan di Indonesia. Visi kami adalah terwujudnya Universitas Bhayangkara Jakarta Raya sebagai universitas unggulan di tingkat nasional dan internasional. Dengan kerja keras, kerja cerdas, kerja kualitas, kerja ikhlas, dan kerja tuntas, mewujudkan cita-cita menjadi universitas kelas dunia.
Under Brata Bhakti Foundation, Ubarajaya became the first private university in Indonesia with a security-based curriculum.
Universitas ini memberikan kontribusi kepada dunia pendidikan, kepada masyarakat luas, dan juga khususnya di dalam membantu agar tugas-tugas kepolisian yang ke depan ini kan semakin kompleks ya. Universitas Bhayangkara Jawa ini juga diharapkan memberikan kontribusi di dalam memahami ancaman-ancaman kejahatan, ancaman ketertiban, baik di dunia nyata maupun di dunia maya. Sehingga dengan demikian lulusannya nanti, di samping dia ahli pada bidangnya masing-masing, mereka sudah memiliki juga bekal pengetahuan untuk meredam masalah-masalah sosial yang bisa terjadi di lingkungan kerjanya nanti.
Ubarajaya has 7 faculties with 12 graduate programs. Faculty of Engineering, Faculty of Law, Faculty of Economics and Business, Faculty of Communication, Faculty of Psychology, Faculty of Education, and Faculty of Computer Science. While postgraduate study programs include Master of Management Science and Master of Law. Soon, there will be Master of Communication Science study program. In the near future, doctoral study programs in economics and law will soon be also started. With various scientific studies, various facilities has been built as supporting infrastructures. Public Relation Laboratory, Judicial Room, Language Laboratory, Psychology Laboratory, Chemical Laboratory, Basic Physics Laboratory, Petroleum Engineering Laboratory, Environmental Engineering Laboratory, Computer Laboratory, Micro Teaching Laboratory, Sport Coaching Laboratory, Tax Gallery, Bank of Indonesia Corner, Investment Gallery, Auditorium, Clinic of been built as supporting infrastructure by Police and Anti-Corruption Study Center, as well as National Security Study Center. To meet the needs of scientific development and the needs of the industrial world and the labor market, our lecturers consist of various academicians to practitioners who are very competent in their fields.
Secara teori kan tentu unggul ya, tetapi lebih dari itu kita memberikan kebanggaan kepada generasi yang akan datang bahwa dahulu senior Anda, Bapak-Bapak senior, telah banyak memperhatikan masalah pendidikan untuk kepentingan bangsa dan negara, bukan untuk kepentingan kepolisian saja. Jadi dalam hal ini keluarga besar Purnawiran Polri telah ikut serta dalam salah satu tujuan bernegara, mencerdaskan kehidupan bangsa.
To ensure an excellent generation who are free from drugs abuse, Ubara Jaya is collaborating with the National Narcotics Agency or BNN in street selection of prospective students. Various accelerations in academic fields and continuous improvement of the system is Ubara Jaya's commitment in providing the best service for the entire academic community. For sustaining the positions and strengthening the functions of universities, various cooperations and partnerships are established with various parties, both at regional and international levels.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. Good afternoon. Annyeonghaseyo. The Honorable Dean Faculty of Communication, Universitas Bhayangkara, Jakarta Raya, Dr. Aan Widodo, Bachelor of Communication and Master of Communication. The Honorable Vice Dean, Dr. Wichitra Yasya, Bachelor of Science and Master in Communication. Titis Nurbulan, Bachelor of Social Science and Master of Communication, and Waode Siti Nurhaliza, Bachelor of Communication and Master of Communication. The Honorable Head of Undergraduate and Postgraduate Study of Communication and all the staff. The Honorable Speaker, Professor Dugushim, from Department of Media and Communication at Samshin Women's University. And the moderator today, Pagi Muhammad, Bachelor of Communication and Master of Communication. Ladies and gentlemen, Let me introduce myself. I am Andini Putri STMC, who will get today's event. We express our gratitude because thanks to the grace of God Almighty, we were able to gather together in the general lecture event with the theme Korean Fever, learning how and why Korean media and entertainment industry soaring through the world. South Korea has developed into a popular K-web drama, film, and music content creation engine. Parasite, as one of the South Korean films that managed to penetrate the Oscars and was named the best film, is an example of the success of the globalization of South Korean films. According to the South Korean government, the entertainment and media industries are the main drivers of their country's future economy. It was found that South Korean dramas are increasingly in demand in Indonesia. Therefore, Faculty of Communication Universitas Bhayangkara Jakarta Raya took the initiative to hold a public lecture with the theme Korean Fever, learning how and why Korean media and entertainment industry soaring through the world. Presenting media and communication expert from South Korea, it is hoped that this activity can provide an overview of the media and entertainment industry ecosystem in South Korea, which can then help maximize the potential of the media and entertainment industry ecosystem in Indonesia. All right, starting today's series of activities, I invite the Faculty of Communication Universitas Bhayangkara Jakarta Raya, Mr. Dr. Aan Widodo, Bachelor of Communication and Master of Communication, to give a speech as well as open the general lecture today. Mr. Dr. Aan Widodo, time is yours.
Cek. Okay. Thank you, MC. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, Professor Dobosim. I am Aan Widodo, Dean Faculty of Communication Science, Universitas Bhayangkara Jakarta Raya. It is so an honor to have you here with us. It is a special occasion. Thank you very much, Professor Sim. Okay, good afternoon to our respected organization committee, lecturer, and our beloved student. I am delighted to see many people here. Let me extend to very warm welcome to all of you who present today, joining to this general lecture with the theme Korean people, learning how and why Korean media and entertainment industry soaring took on the world. In this occasion, we have Professor Sim, Dean College of Social Science, Professor of Media Communication, Sang-Sin Women University, as our great speaker. I am excited, and surely we can expect from Professor Sim to share his expert knowledge about how and why Korean media and entertainment industry soaring took the world. In the media and entertainment industry nowadays, Indonesia especially, the rising generation are more than familiar about Hallyu or K-web. We can find Indonesia rising generation often talking about various popular culture product of South Korean, such as a television program, movies, music, and video game. K-web is also often the subject of daily conversation as seen on various media platforms. South Korea has become one of the developed countries in the world as well as the metric of the media and entertainment industry for several developing countries in Southeast Asia. South Korea took its political diplomacy has successes in popularizing the K-web. The film industry in Korea has developed into one of the most active market in the world, took the development and multiplexing in popularity of the movie watching culture. According to some studies, the assumption, the composition, the South Korean media content has significant positive influence of the interest of the Indonesian people consume South Korea product. For instance, Indonesia women, we are considerable interest in the consumed South Asia product, which is unique because because they see the product in the South Korea media content they consume, or simply because their idol artists also consume the same product. In many cases, Indonesia women idola Korea artists until some consider friend, girlfriend, husband, even talk their communication with a social media. No, science professor Sim, a media and communication expert from South Korea, is here with us. It's hoped that this general lecture activity can provide an overview the media and entertaining industry ecosystem in South Korea, which can then help maximize the potential of the media and entertainment industry ecosystem in Indonesia. I think that all my speech. Hopefully we can be beneficial for all of you. And sorry for anyone for behavior the upstanding for your health. Thank you very much for your the question and your keen attention. In particular, I would like to thanks to member of organization committee. Thank you so much for your helping organize this event. Good afternoon. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Dr. Aan Widodo, for the opening remarks. Before entering the main event, I invite all participants to take virtual pictures together. Please start your video and don't forget to show a sweet smile and your best pose. I will count in 1, 2, 3. Ladies and gentlemen, and all participants in the 2022 General Lecture, before entering the main event, I will first introduce the moderator who will get the discussion at this event. Mr. Pagi Muhammad, Bachelor of Communication and Master of Communication. He took his undergraduate education at Pasundan University, majoring in journalistic, and then continued his master education in business communication at Pajajaran University. He is now actively teaching as a lecturer at Universitas Bhayangkara, Jakarta, Raya. Okay, that was the CV from Mr. Pagi Muhammad, Bachelor of Communication and Master of Communication. Furthermore, the event will be hosted by Mr. Pagi Muhammad as moderator. To Mr. Pagi Muhammad, time is yours.
Thank you, MC. Annyeonghaseyo, Prof. Dubushim. My name is Pagi Muhammad. Before we get started with your presentation, let me start with the opening. So, what we are gonna discuss today is why the Korea or the Hallyu or the Korean wave in mostly in Indonesia, because we not talk in Indonesia, but I'm gonna show a little of infographics and fact in Indonesia. So we can see that in Indonesia, the data that has been shot by Snapchat, that Indonesian consumption of Korean culture and entertainment, 85% respondents say they are enjoy the culture or the Korean, any form of Korean entertainment. And the top 5 of the form of Korean culture and entertainment in Indonesia is a series including TV and live streaming. Second one is music. Third is food and drinks. Fourth, feature film or movie. 5, idol of or famous figures. Yeah. Okay, in 88 respondents who enjoy Korean music, enjoy K-pop, where 86% enjoy soundtracks from their favorite movie or series. So It reminds me back in 2012 when 2012 there is one artist song that sing a song is Gangnam Style by the artist is PSY. So I'm gonna play a little bit. This is the PSY. Yeah, this is the broke of the record, the most see video clip in the YouTube, and now have 4 billion, 4.5 billion view. So it's very amazing that in one of the artists in Korea back in 2012 broke the record for the most viewing video in the internet or in the YouTube. Okay, so I'm back in the I'm sorry. Okay, back. Indonesia have the second top K-pop countries that stream.
Pak Pagi, mute Pak.
I'm so sorry, Pak Haji. Hello, you are on mute.
Okay, okay, okay. I'm very sorry. I forgot to turn the mute button. So okay, so and I'm okay now.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. The first thing that in Indonesia we speak about Korean Wave, that data from the Korea Tourism Organization or KTO show in 2008 when the K-pop boom started, more than 80,000 Indonesian tourists visit the South Korea, and by 2012, by the number has grown into nearly 150,000. Okay, and nearly in 2012, 2013, it nearly reached 190,000 of people that go from Indonesia to Korea. So this is from the K-pop, from the all the media that show the consumption in Indonesia, that show that when Indonesian people consume the content, they usually want to go to the Korea as well. For example, to Jeju Island, to for example, that the place I think if I'm not wrong, there is a place where they shoot the drama Winter Sonata or so they want to go there because it's very romantic, and it became when I think my sisters do that also. When they honeymoon, they go to Korea and they go to Jeju and so on, because my sister love Korean movie, so on. So that I think that very interesting that people that like Korean content, whatever is movie, whatever is K-pop and so on, they tend to like to visit Korea, and they in Indonesia also the growth of Korean food restaurant, I think, is exponentially everywhere. I think nowadays Korean restaurant is everywhere in Indonesia. We have also what is it called, noodles also in this samyang, I think, is trending now, and then more food like tteokbokki and so on. My daughter made tteokbokki also, and so this Korea also that influence our daily life in people in Indonesia, especially with the help of the media now. Okay, so I think that's a preliminary for our discussion today, Professor Dubushim. So now, if you will, for your presentation, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. May I have PowerPoint slides? Hello, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dubo Shim, and thank you for your invitation and wonderful introduction made by Dean Dr. Widodo and MC Dr. Muhammad, and also another MC who seems to be a student. I'm very touched by the love shown by the Indonesian friends to the Korean culture. First of all, please excuse my limited English proficiency, although I want to share my ideas and knowledge about the Korean wave and Korean popular culture to you. I think that my limited English expression may hinder the proper communication between me, but please understand me. And also, I'm not sure whether I can answer all of your questions and curiosities about the Korean popular cultural development and the Korean media, but I will try my best. I have prepared two PowerPoint slides, and one is more historical perspective on how and why Korean popular culture has developed for the past 30 years up until today. And the second PowerPoint slides may focus on the more recent television dramas, including Extraordinary Attorney Woo Young-woo or My Liberation Diaries or Squid Game. First of all, I will talk on the history of the Korean wave. Please turn to the next slide. Okay. I have published my early academic articles on the Korean wave, even in 2002 and 2006 and afterwards. At the time, Korean wave was acknowledged by small population, especially within Northeast Asia, especially China, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and then it gradually expanded to Japan and other Southeast Asian countries, including Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia. And then these days, all over the world, Korean popular culture is being enjoyed by a lot of people. Not only Korean popular culture, but all things Korean, if you say. Professor Mohammed kindly acknowledged that his daughter enjoys tteokbokki, which is a street food in Korea. And I can see many Indonesian tourists and students around in Seoul. It is a huge change compared to 20 years ago. These days, even in Korea, we can enjoy Indonesian food as well. So based on Korean wave, as it is a wave, first, Korean popular culture is going overseas. And then through the wave, foreign culture, including Indonesian culture, is also coming into Korea. This is a huge change, and eventually, which will build up to the more peaceful relationship between the countries in the world. In 2002, as you see in this PowerPoint slides, AP, which is an American-based news agency, reported on the changes in Asia. Before the Korean wave, probably the only thing people outside of Korea may recognize Korean is the food kimchi, the red hot dish. So they changed kimchi into kim shik. which is very popular. All things Korean, from food and music to eyebrow shaping and shoe styles, are the rage across Asia, which is reported in 2002. And also, Hallyu Reporter, which is a trade magazine in America, acknowledged that Korea has changed from a cinematic backwater into one of the hottest film market and also the powerhouse of film and television drama production. And these days, based on social media and YouTube, Korean Wave is easily found around the world. And BTS, one of the most popular K-pop band in history, BTS has received all diverse of awards from America and the rest of the world. About 10 years ago, as Mr. Dr. Muhammad acknowledged, Psy's Gangnam Style was huge across the world. But at the time, many people called it a one-time wonder because afterwards, Psy didn't publish a similar record compared to the Gangnam Style. But although he's still singing in Korea, but his global fame is not as big as Gangnam Style. But as about 5 years later, in 2017, BTS made it big with their hit songs like DNA and Afterwards. Next slide. And in 2018, Time magazine also featured BTS as its cover, and Time called the BTS as the next generation leaders. It is very rare for Asian pop stars to be featured on Time magazine. Next, please. Some people call it BTS is Beatles of the YouTube era, or BTS is the Beatles of the 21st century. It has topped all kinds of records, including Billboard and iTunes charts and American Music Awards, Billboard Music Awards, and also along with Psy, it has crashed records of views on YouTube. Go to the next slide. So I would better tell you my personal story, how I came into the research of the Korean Wave. And this story is related to the early stage of the Korean Wave development. In early 1990s, I went to America, which is University of Wisconsin-Madison, to further my graduate studies for masters and PhDs. I met Professor Robert McChesney, who is one of the most published scholar in American communication research area. He suggested to me that why don't you write about Korean small company Jail Jedang's investment of the American Hollywood movie studio DreamWorks. Korea at the time in the 1990s was a very small country compared to now. Not many people around the world recognize where Korea is. Whenever I met foreigners, they would ask me, are you from North Korea or South Korea? They couldn't recognize between North Korea and South Korea. And they even asked me, are you Japanese or Chinese? Instead of asking me Korean. That was in the 1990s. So Korean company called Jail Jedang invested American movie studio DreamWorks. Was a huge news. But in 1989, Japanese company Sony bought Columbia Pictures, which is another Hollywood movie studio, which has almost 100 years of history. And it was also a huge news because Americans are always proud of their movie theaters and movie making and their Hollywood stardom. But suddenly, Japan, although it is a rich country, it is based in Asia. How their Asian country small company invested in America. This way, Americans were kind of enraged or somewhat angry, and then they began to think that American age is going to go to the end, and the 1990s and 21st century will be the age of Asia. First Japan, and then Korea. And also in the 1990s, Korean society was filled with all kinds of futuristic discourses, including information age. 21st century will be a century of culture and globalization. So Korean media and Korean government policymakers and Korean scholars gradually being prepared for the future. And then although Korea was not traditionally a huge powerhouse of media producers, they began to think that media and culture will be important asset in terms of economy in the future. So I agree with my doctoral advisor, Professor Robert McChesney, that I'm going to study more on media development in Asia and Korea. And it was done with the background of the global media industry development. So in 1998, I presented my paper called Hollywood Attracts South Korean Capital. Based on this successful presentation, I began to further my doctoral dissertation. So eventually I finished my doctoral dissertation called Korean Big Business Awakens to Media Industry. If you think of Korean economy, you may think of Samsung or LG or maybe Hyundai. Those are big business or Jabil companies or conglomerate companies. They have been in Korean economy from the 1960s or 1950s, but throughout their history, they didn't do with the culture. But starting in the 1990s, they began to invest in the culture, filmmaking, film import, and film theaters. So maybe I heard in Indonesia there is a Korean movie theater, multiplex called CGV, right? CGV is a company run by CJ. Jailjedang renamed itself into CJ afterwards. And this is a small article in Los Angeles Times in 1995 that Korean company Jail Food and Chemicals invest in DreamWorks SKG. And this was the beginning, in some sense, beginning of the Korean wave. And it laid the foundation for the future development of the Korean wave. Please go to the next. Turn to the next slide. So I had a hard time for my PhD days. And in 2001, I became a professor, assistant professor at the National University of Singapore. And like Indonesia, Singapore is considered a crossroads of cultures. All kinds of cultures come and go in Singapore. And using English in Singapore is one of the important assets for the Singapore being cross of cultures. And for my almost 6-year stay at University of Singapore, there was a research institute called Asia Research Institute. And then early 2000s was the beginning of the more and more Asian culture flow. Korean television drama began to be seen in Singapore. Japanese J-pop and Japanese television drama was there in the 1990s. Japanese manga and animation has been seen by children in Indonesia and Thailand and all across Asia. And Taiwan also developed its own television drama, romantic drama, and it successfully exported to the rest of Asia. So Asia Research Institute began to organize seminars on East Asian popular culture for. And Hallyu was at the early stage. So many people in Korea always think whether Hallyu or the Korean wave, Hallyu is the Korean term for the Korean wave, whether it really exists. Some people doubt it because Korea didn't have a history of exporting its popular culture until the 1990s. So when the Korean media reported that there are some people, some fans in China and Taiwan, that they are huge fans of Korean pop music and television drama. And in Japan, some middle-aged housewives are huge fans of Korean drama, Winter Sonata. And Bae Yong-jun, the Korean actor, is being idolized by Japanese women. All these reports was reported by the Korean media, but still, there are some Korean people who doubt the existence of the Korean wave. But as a Korean person, also as a scholar who has been pursuing his studies in America, applied my own academic research methods to my observation of the Korean popular culture flow in Singapore, and I successfully presented my paper called Korean Wave and its implications for international communication research in 2002 at the International Communication Association. And eventually, this is 2006, I published my article, Hybridity and the Rise of Korean Popular Culture in Asia, in a British academic journal called Media, Culture and Society. Afterwards, this article has been cited more than 1,000 times by scholars around the world. And as you see in these pictures, Singapore, you can see all different kinds of ethnicities in Singapore: Indian people, Chinese people, Malay people, Indonesian people, Australian people, even Korean and Japanese. So Singapore is truly a crossroads of culture. So it is a very interesting test bed of foreign cultures. Please go to the next slide. I have been raised and born and raised in Korea. So I'm not sure how Indonesian people are thinking about the world, but before my graduate studies in America, my ideas about the world was very much centered around the United States. I think it is the same with Japan and Taiwan. Although we are in Asia, our ideas are have been influenced by America a lot, and we Asians have not have an interest in other Asian countries, our neighbors Asia, but we are not very much interested in Asia for quite a long time. So when I was in Singapore, I began to realize that my horizons have been very limited. This is South Korea, and compared to many countries in Southeast Asia, including Philippines or Indonesia and Malaysia or Thailand, South Korea is very small, although it is bigger than Singapore. So I realized that South Korea is just one of those Asian countries. And then I began to try to learn more about Asia. And Singapore is an interesting case for the rise of the Korean wave. As you know, Singapore is a small country, very small. It only has about 5 million population. And because of its small size, the government was easy to control the people and the information and the media. So for quite a long time, until 2001, Singapore only had one newspaper company and one broadcasting company. But during the 1990s, like in South Korea, Singapore scholars and policymakers thought about how to cultivate their future. The future will be more open. The future will be an age of globalization. And without global open mindset, the countries will be losing in global competition. So Singapore policymakers also began to realize that they have to be more liberalized. They have to be more democratic. So Singapore government decided that in 2001, they are going to have one more new broadcasting company and one more new newspaper company. So when the second television station, which is new, Channel U, was starting its business, their strategy was to take advantage of Korean drama. They learned that Korean drama is popular in China, Taiwan, and Hong Kong. So if Korean drama is popular, how about importing Korean drama to boost the new broadcasting company's image and audience share? And interestingly, there are already fans of Korean drama in Singapore, and they welcomed. And then Korean drama's popularity was gradually growing. And also I found that in Singapore, 75% of people are Chinese descent. And Hong Kong movies and Hong Kong pub or Canto pub has been popular for the past 30 years, from the 60s and early in the late 1990s. And I found whenever I go to a bar, many Singaporean singers are singing their songs in Chinese, but the rhythm and melody are actually Korean. So they already remade Korean songs. Before the arrival of K-pop, like Wonder Girls or Girls' Generation, they already listened to the Korean songs. And as time go by, Korean drama's popularity grew up. So television stations began to further their advertisement of the Korean drama. They did bus advertisement of Korean drama, and older generation in Indonesia may remember that Jewel in the Palace or Daejanggeum became a huge hit in around 2003 to 2005, along with Winter Sonata. Winter Sonata, please go next slide. And this shows list of the 9 offerings of the movies at one of the largest movie theaters in Singapore in 2003. Already 3 Korean movies are being shown in Singapore theater. It was in 2003. So from early 2000, like 2001 and 2002 and 2003, in Singapore, Korean wave was began to boom. Please go to the next. And this is the 2003 Singapore magazine. It says that, help, I'm addicted to Koreana. At the time, Korean wave or Korean fever or Koreana was the same. And then they used the word kimchi as a kimchi hot, as if Korean fever is hot. And Bae Yong-joon was a star in Korean drama Winter Sonata. And you can see Boa. Do you remember, can you recognize who she is? She's a famous actress. She was younger, right? 2003. Can you recognize this guy? He even starred in a Hollywood movie a few years ago. He's Lee Byung-hun, and she's Song Hye-kyo. Yeah. And in 2017, I visited Singapore again, and then at the time, most of the teenagers magazine was covered with the BTS. So Korean wave has been throughout the 2000s. Please go to the next slides. So in the early days, Korean drama, especially like What is Love All About, Autumn in My Heart, which featured the Korean actor Song Seung-han, and also Song Hye-kyo was a star. Early singers like H.O.T., the boy band, they are like a grandfather of BTS, and Clone is a two-member duo, and film like Shiri and My Says Hero was also popular. So many commentators analyze the Korean drama was popular because of its unique storyline, and different from American drama. Korean drama has featured family bonding, and even Japanese drama sometimes show sexual scenes, but Korean drama has a very modest sexual expression. So more conservative countries like Indonesia and Malaysia are welcoming Korean drama. And Korean drama has handsome actors. It is because most of the fans of the dramas are women, so they pick up handsome actors instead of beautiful ladies. And modernity, the concept of modernity was developed in Europe about 200 years ago. And as I said before, we all of the Asian countries try to westernize, try to modernize our culture and okay. But when viewers from Indonesia and Vietnam, when they watch Korean drama, they find that although Korea is another Asian country, although Korea is part of Asia, Korea has shown some kind of modernity. Huge buildings and civility and more developed government system. So even Asia can achieve modernity. So if Korea can achieve modernity, why not us? If Korea can do, why not Indonesia? So if America or England shows modernity, they are too far away. But Korea is our friend, is our neighbor. We are same Asians. So if Korea can do that, we Indonesians can do that too. So this kind of thinking further allowed the Asian viewers to enjoy Korean dramas. Next, please. And next, please. H.O.T. and Clone, the next, please. And the left side is Shiri's poster in Japan. The right side is My Says Girl's poster in China and Hong Kong. Next, please. And also in Japan. And some older generation may recognize Autumn in My Heart. And the lady in the middle is also Song Hye-kyo, very popular actress. And the right side is All About Eve. And this drama was very popular in Vietnam, even in 2000. Next, please. And this is a Malaysian song called Wabushi Song Sheng Chen. And the lyrics is that Malaysian guy found out that his girlfriend is in love with Korean actor Song Seung Chan. So he's angry, and then he can show up that although he's not, he cannot do the same love what the Korean actor Song Seung-han did. He can show his own love, Malaysian love, to the girlfriend. So the lyrics is very fun. Please go to the next slide. And you may remember the left side is 겨울연가 or Winter Sonata. the background is Nami Island. So many Indonesian people go to this island for their honeymoon because in Indonesia there is no snow. So they may romanticize the snowy winter in Korea. The right side is a Korean traditional history drama during the palace. And based on this drama, Korean traditional food became hugely popular. Please go to the next. So Northeast and Southeast Asia are initially thought about two different regions based on their ethnicities, based on the culture, based on main religions. But Korean wave was able to be popular in Indonesia and Southeast Asia because of other Northeast Asian countries, such as Japanese popular was already in Southeast Asia, and there are many Chinese communities in Southeast Asia, and they were the first ethnic group who enjoyed Korean drama. And then based on Chinese community in Jakarta, based on Chinese community in Singapore, Korean drama was able to be spreading toward the rest of Asia. So we can see some kind of concept called continuum of culture flow. Please go to the next. Please go to the next. I think I'd better explain the early stage of Korean media development. Please go to the next. Please go to the next. So these are the kind of new age Korean dramas beginning in 2007 or 8 or 9. Because as you see in the poster, most of the stars are very young and very modern, or although they are based on Korean history, they look very modern. But early Korean dramas like Winter Sonata or those dramas were only enjoyed by housewives, middle-aged women. So in around 2003 or 2004, if you meet a person who enjoys Korean drama, you can easily recognize that she is in her 40s or 50s. So there was a huge age gap. But from 2007 or 8 or 9 and 2010s, the biggest age group of the Korean drama are younger people, like teenagers and 20-something. So can you find Song Hye-kyo again? The actress Song Hye-kyo. Song Hye-kyo is still here. So she's quite popular. Yes, she's here. So throughout her 20, she jumped over the 20-year difference. Please go to the next slide. Yes, they are K-pop stars. K-pop began to be huge in around 2007 or 8. I visited Malaysia and Singapore in 2008, and I found that When There Was Nobody was heard everywhere, and also in the Philippines. So at the time, one Filipino newspaper called Nobody is the national song of the Philippines. So that was the high time of the K-pop popularity in Asia, and Girls' Generation cannot be exempted, and also 21 was hugely popular. And also she is originally from the Philippines. Although she is Korean, she lived in the Philippines for more than 10 years. And also we are finding many Asian girls and boys who have become members of the Korean boy band and girl groups these days. Please go to the next. So so far, Korean wave was largely limited to Asia, but from around 2011, with Gangnam Style and BTS, Korean wave became more global. And as Professor MC showed, Indonesia is still at the top second in the Korean wave popularity. Please go to the next. And Indonesia, yeah, when Gangnam Style was huge, the biggest flash mob in the world was held in Jakarta. So I'm proud of Indonesian fans. Please go to the next. And YouTube became a new medium for the spread of K-pop, and Indonesia is always hot in terms of K-pop popularity. Please go to the next. And while J-pop go to the right down, K-pop is going upward to the right side. So this shows the popularity of K-pop in Asia. Please go to the next. Please go to the next. And also because of the Korean wave, more and more people are learning Korean. So tourist number is growing up, and also test of proficiency in Korean or TOPIK, the test among the foreigners who are trying to test their Korean proficiency is growing up. Please go to the next. And more foreigners from Asia are coming to Korea. This picture was taken in around 2005. And as you can see, most of the fans are middle-aged housewives. This picture was taken about 2 or 3 years ago to the Seongshin Women's University of, which is mine, and from Malaysia. And as you can see, most of the people are in their early 20s. So the fandom makeup is gradually going to more younger, become younger and younger. Please go to the next. And Korean image outside is getting better and better. So some people call it soft power, but recently some theorists argue that soft power always come with hard power. Look at America. They have been the number one country, hegemonic country for the past 100 years in terms of armament, in terms of army, in terms of economy. Their hard power is huge, and they also have a soft power in terms of Hollywood and in terms of Harvard University, all those education infrastructure. But in Korea, they don't have hard power, but they have good image based on popular culture. So Korean case is not soft power, but sweet power. So there is a new term called sweet power. Please go to the next. Please go to the next. So I think I'd better show you this. How come Korea has come to be a regional powerhouse in terms of media production? In 1988, Korean movie industry felt that they met a huge crisis because American films began to be distributed into Korea directly without any barrier. So in 1991, Korean film was produced 121, but in 1994, many filmmakers left their job, and then it reduced to 63 because of the American movies' popularity. And also, US films market share at Korean theaters widened from 53% to 80%. On the other hand, Korean films market share reduced to from 50% to 15.9%. So many filmmakers and people in the film industry consider it a huge crisis. So what should we do? And also 1990s was an age. The global trade will be more open with the WTO system's emergence. Please go to the next. And also, Korean film was not loved by Korean audiences. They liked American film instead of Korean film. But so many people thought the Korean television drama and film will be kind of dead against the invasion of the American drama. But suddenly, one Korean movie called 서편제 recorded 1 million tickets in theater in Seoul. And it was a important record, important milestone. And the 서편제 was a film about the Korean past. And there is 3 family members, and they are performing traditional Korean music called pansori. And up until that time, whole of the Korean society only looked to the West, looked to the United States, tried to westernize, as I said before. They didn't care about the Korean traditional culture. They simply thought Korean traditional culture or Korean past should be discarded. Our future must be developed by the knowledge of the West. That was the mindset of Korea. But with the popularity of the Korean traditional movie, 서편제, they began to rethink about the nostalgia. And they began to think that our culture is important. They began to revalue a Korean traditional culture. So from that point of time, Koreans began to think that we have to make our own content, our own television drama, our own movies. Please go to the next. And this is the movie 서편제. And as you see, hanbok, they are wearing hanbok. And this movie was actually set in the 1940s, and 1940s is an age when Korea's power is weakening and weakening because of the Western power. So this kind of traditional performance was more and more discarded and looked down on by the Korean audiences. But suddenly in 1993, this movie became a huge hit. Please go to the next. And at the time, American movie called Jurassic Park was a huge hit. And then Korean commentators began to analyze why Jurassic Park is a huge hit and what kind of lesson Korean media can learn. And Jurassic Park is only one movie, but the total revenue of Jurassic Park is almost the same with 1.5 Hyundai cars. At the time, Hyundai car is a pride of Korean economy. And in order to produce 1.5 million cars, thousands and thousands of the laborers have to work. But Jurassic Park is only one film, but one film's revenue is same with 1.5 million cars made by Koreans. So Korean government and Korean media began to think that movie making is very important. Cultural industry may open our new future. So the government began to reduce the censorship and provide some kind of benefit to the film production, and they revised the motion picture law. So government, the media, and the industry, they began to rethink culture is important. So at the time, their slogan was "Learn from Hollywood." So against this backdrop, in 1995, one small Korean company called 제일제당, which I introduced in the beginning of my presentation, they invest in Hollywood movie studio. Please go to the next. So afterwards, throughout the 1990s, more and more modern business technique was adopted by the film production. And while in the 1980s, intelligent college graduates, they only wanted to go and get a job in Samsung or Hyundai, those huge companies. But in the 1990s, they began to find their future in the culture industries. So, Park Chan-wook, Kim Ki-deok, Bong Joon-ho. Bong Joon-ho is a director of the Academy Award, the Parasite. Those good movie directors debut in the 1990s. And movie makers began to enjoy freedom beginning in the 1990s. Please go to the next. So as time go by, local films began to enjoy bigger and bigger audiences. So in 1999, Shiri break a record with 5.8 million audiences. But 2 years later, France break again. And 2 years again, Sirmido break again. And then 2 years, in the same year, another movie called Taegaki broke a record with 11 million. And then afterwards, more and more Korean dramas began to break the audience records. So, and then also more and more Korean dramas began to receive the awards from major film festivals like Cannes, Berlin, and Venice, and Academy. So Bong Joon-ho's Parasite received Palme d'Or at the Cannes in 2019 before earning the Best Picture Award in Academy Award in 2020. Please go to the next. So these are the movies which broke records in the early 2000s. Please go to the next. And please go back. One thing is important that this is a story about North Korea and South Korea. So before the 1990s, because of the government censorship, North Korean people were always portrayed as enemies, ugly enemies, and they must be portrayed as ugly person. But in 2001, this guy, what is his name? He's also a Hallyu star, Lee Byung-hun, and also this is Song Kang-ho. He is a star in the Parasite. Can you recognize? He is the father in the movie Parasite. And these two stars, and this lady is a star in Daejanggeum, Jewel in the Palace. And even North Korean people were portrayed as good-looking person. This is a huge difference based on the loosening of the censorship. So Korean filmmakers began to enjoy more freedom in their cinematic expression. Please go to the next. So Korean film industry grew. So as we noted, in 1993, Korean films' local market share was only 15.9. But since 2003, every year, Korean films' market share is more than 50%. This is a record which only 2 or 3 countries around the world can be boast of, because if you go to Japan, or if you go to Taiwan, or if you go to any country, everywhere American films are having more than 50% market share. Local film always enjoy just about 20 or 30 or 5%. And I'm not sure about the Indonesian case, but not many countries enjoy more than 50% of market share with their local films. So Korean films, even before the Korean films popularity overseas, Korean film was already loved by its own local people. Based on local people's, local audiences' support of the Korean dramas and films, they can enjoy their popularity outside of Korea. And then the figure of the film export grew in 1993. It was just about less than 1 million, $173,838 only. But in 2018, $80 million they earned with a film export. Please go to the next. So government support is two-sided. Some people say that especially outside of Korea, the Korean wave was possible because of the government support. But within Korea, we don't believe that way. Government's support was good, but it has its own limit. Government's job is only provide infrastructure and only loosening censorship. If government does more than that, the artist, the film industry people cannot enjoy the freedom. So government must support, but should not interfere. And so far, in Korean case, government try to provide infrastructure, but they try not to intervene in the expressions. But there's always a tension between the government side and the industry side. So if you ask as the CEO of JYP or SM or Hive, do you think government has done good? And they say, I don't think so. This is their mindset. So different from outside perspective, that Korean wave was possible because of government support, but many Korean professors and industry people do not think that way. Government was doing some good, but their support was limited. So support, but they should not intervene. Please go to the next. So when you think of Asia, although we are within the same Asia, but even outside of Asia, they have indicated that Asia is an area without an identity, a region incapable of imagining itself as a community. It's in year 1989. But with more and more cultural flow from Korea to Indonesia. And as I said, 20 years ago, I couldn't find any Indonesian food in Korea. But these days, I can enjoy Indonesian food as well. And it's easy to enjoy Korean drama and film and pop music outside of Korea. So with the more and more cultural flow, we are trying to imagine Asia as a community. Although there are still a tension and political strife and animosity between Asian countries, but compared to 20 or 30 years ago, we are feeling more closer and closer. I think Korean wave at least provided some role to these changes. Please go to the next. Yes. And please show me the next slide. I have provided one more slide. And this is more new one with a understanding of the role of the Netflix. Please go to the next. I think I'd better finish the second one first. Please go to the next. The next. Yeah, this is Nami Island, the favorite tourist destination for Indonesian audiences. Please go to the next. And based on Daejanggeum, Korean food is getting more and more popular. Please go to the next. And during the coronavirus era or COVID-19 pandemic, what is interesting is that people cannot go outside, cannot go to the theaters. They began to enjoy more and more their content from the Netflix. And what is interesting is that if you open Netflix, it's very easy to find Korean drama. So during the COVID-19 pandemic, Korean drama's popularity has gone up. Please go to the next. And also, Squid Game has been a huge hit, and it won American Emmy Award. And some people say that whether it is a reflection of the Korean society, one guy compete with another guy, and then the other loser must be killed or something like that. So Korean society is a hell, and it is partly true and partly wrong. But one thing is that my Singaporean friend told me that this kind of show cannot be made in Singapore, cannot be made because of the censorship. So at least in Korea, this kind of show can be made. So maybe there is a huge difference and huge development of Korean media industry has achieved for the past 20 or 30 years. Please go to the next. And also, this is a Korean drama, but which is not made by Korea, which was made by Apple TV in America, but they used Korean history. So the American media industry began to realize and began to find the importance of using Asian content and Asian story for their own drama. Please go to the next. Yes, please go to the next. Yes. And also, this is another Netflix drama called DP, and which also shows cruelty of the within the army camp. So it's not easy to watch all of the scenes because there are very cruel scenes. And if you turn the other side, this kind of show can be made because of the democratic achievement of the Korean media industry. Please go to the next. Oh, if you go back, go back, you can find Song Hye-kyo again. Wow, I'm a big fan of Song Hye-kyo. I'm sorry. Please go back, go next. Please go next. This guy is a Brazilian novelist, Paulo Coelho, and his books have been read by millions and millions of readers around the world. And this guy, who is seemingly a symbol of high culture, also enjoy Korean drama, which is just a popular culture. For quite a long time, there is a division between high culture and low culture. But with the popularity of Korean drama, the division is getting blurred and blurred. So it is also a sign of democracy. Please go to the next. And we have to recognize that Taiwanese show also was popular even before Korean drama. So there is a huge linkage between Asian countries. So I would guess the next wave will be come from Indonesia. Please go to the next. And another point we have to remember is that Korean drama is largely a female genre. Korean dramas writers are largely females. Korean dramas fans are largely females. And also the storyline is also more and more female centered. So in Korean drama, you can find many women who have achieved social success and who are largely equal with guys. So these kind of portrayal and presentation of new age women is another asset of Korean drama, which can lure more foreign audiences who are women. Please go to the next. Yes. If you see the posters of the Korean dramas, more and more women are getting in the center. And although it is a very comic drama, the lady is leading the guy. Yeah, please go to the next. And also, even without men, only women are the center of the drama narratives. So this is important aspect of the Korean drama, and it shows the differences of the drama in the previous decades. Please go to the next. Yes, and also men are showing their weaker side, and by this way, men always used to be a hero, and they are very up in the air, but they are going down. So the women and men's side are more and more equal. So this is also another important aspect which women like more Korean dramas. Please go to the next. And Netflix role is important, but Korean drama is popular because or thanks to Netflix provide us another point which have to rethought, because we always thought that America or United States media industry has been the king for the past 100 years. And then Korean drama and Japanese manga or Thailand drama, those Asian media is getting bigger and bigger. But still, Asian content is being distributed by the American company. So although Asia is getting bigger, America is still there. So this is one stark reality of the 21st century media industry in the world. Please go to the next. Yes. So although I have talked about Korean drama, I'm not saying that Korean drama is the best or Korean drama is the only Korean drama we have to watch. Korean drama is only one of them. And there are a lot of diverse dramas from diverse countries. But what's different from the 30 years ago is that we are in the world where we can easily choose diversity of dramas in the world. Look at the 1970s. There are only American drama, Hong Kong films, and local dramas. This format is the same everywhere. It was true in Korea. It was true in Japan. It was true in probably Indonesia. In Indonesia, probably American movies, Hong Kong films, and Indonesian dramas. Indonesian people didn't import Korean or Taiwanese or Thai dramas in the 1970s. But at least in the 21st century, we can choose from diversity of the menus. So we are in the middle of the more development to the better future. I would say, although I may not have answered your questions, but by this presentation, we are trying to open more discussion between Koreans and Indonesian audiences. Thank you for your listening. Terima kasih.
Thank you, Prof. Dubusim, in the presentation. So we know about a lot about the history of the Korean wave or the Hallyu. So for the first, I want to ask if there are any question from the audience. You can raise your hand, or you can type in the chat column. So the first things it happened in Indonesia. There was in the 1st October, if I'm not mistaken, there is a tragedy in football in Indonesia. So 140 people died in the tragedy in the incident. So the unique thing is that there is a BTS fans called the army in Indonesia. They raise nearly 400 million in rupiah to help the people that affected the victim of the tragedy. So this one, I think this is the what's called the unique thing in Indonesia. The first first fan base, the response and giving a donation to the victim is from the BTS army. is very interesting. Okay, so the first question, I think from the audience, how to make the public interest with our culture?
Okay.
So
I think this question is huge and it has important implication. But considering the Korean past, we compared to the 1980s, I can see that Korean Korean citizens are considering more and more public mindset within their heart compared to the 1980s. And one of the reason of the changes is that we have to make some kind of effort. Although people out there in the street, they are not my friend, but if we think they must be our friend's friend, or they must be our friends and friends' mothers, so we are all connected. So we have to think that although we meet people outside for the first time in my whole life, maybe although we don't remember 30 years ago or 50 years ago, we have met the other people at least once in Indonesia. So we have to always think that foreigners or outsiders are not outsiders. They are, in some sense, our family member. If we think that way, our publicness or public mindset will be more and more strengthened. I think this way, our democracy will be more stronger. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next question. You mentioned about the censorship from the government. So back then, what censorship that apply in the movie or in the music from the government?
For example, in the 1980s, the singers cannot grow their hair, especially the male singers cannot grow their hair. So some good singers who are very popular and very popular among the audiences in the club, although some of the television producers want to hire them to the show on TV, they refused because they did not want their hair to be cut. So this kind of censorship was stayed in the 1980s, but in the 1990s, they kind of very pre-modern practices were changed. One of the reasons is because of in 1988, Korea held the Seoul Olympic Games. And by the way, more and more foreigners came, and more Koreans who have their education in foreign countries came back. And then they voiced out their stories, their ideas that we have to be more democratic, not only in terms of politics, but also in terms of social practices. And this way, Korea has changed it step by step.
Okay, so there is a question from Ms. Dinar. Ms. Dinar said that can the Hallyu phenomenon be categorized as a westernization process?
Can I read?
Y-
Can I read from the chatting in
Yes.
window? Mm.
Yes, you can read in the chat is by Dinar Sulistyawati.
Mm,
I
can the
okay.
Hallyu phenomenon
Hardly.
be categorized westernization process? In some sense, it's westernization, but the difference of the westernization is that Hallyu is not simply westernization. As I showed the example of the movies Seopyeonje in 1993, Korea began to refound their own past, their own culture. So that's why if you come to Korea, you can easily find the traditional Korean costume like hanbok and traditional Korean style of the housing is still there. And the tradition of the Korean culture is still loved by the Korean people. So have you heard the song 범 내려온다? The tiger is coming? This is a Korean traditional sound, but it was danced by the very modern dance performances. So the tiger is coming. I will check whether it is in the YouTube. I can. I think it's better. Although I cannot show it now, but it would be better to introduce to you.
Iya, karena kan strategi komunikasi
Yes, if you check the YouTube address I mentioned, you can find that there is a mixture of the Korean tradition and very Western dance. So Korean wave is partly a westernization, but it is not simply a westernization. It's a mixture of Korean traditional culture and westernization.
Okay. Thank you, Prof. Dubu. I think okay. There is another question from Mas Triara. How long did it take to make Korean people getting used to the new culture?
It takes time. As you imagine, older generation takes longer time. Younger generation takes short time. It's same everywhere. But in Korea, compared to other countries, kind of education fever is strong. So throughout the education system, younger generation, more and more younger generation learns foreign cultures. And that was one important human power for the Korea to go to the future.
Okay. Yeah, it takes time to get used to, especially when we are different generation. Yeah. We are older generation and the young generation. I think that's quite a bit. Okay, there is another question from Maulana Akbar. There is Indonesian culture or another country culture in Korea? I don't know.
In the above, there is. As I said, about 20 years ago, we have difficulty differentiating between Indonesian culture and Malaysian culture. I would guess Indonesian people also had a similar dilemma of differentiating Korean culture and Japanese culture. But
Yeah.
as we more and more know each other, we can easily differentiate, right? So uh, in Korean restaurant, there are new menus, including Indonesian food, nasi goreng. So
Okay.
I think many Koreans know what nasi goreng means. But I would
Uh,
guess 20 years ago, there was no nasi goreng in Korea.
okay. Yeah, so I think yeah, my daughter as I said made the tteokbokki. He learned from the TikTok how to make tteokbokki and so on, and then you can find the ingredient at home. And I think it's the tteokbokki is yeah, it's like the same what we have in Indonesia, like the
Mhm.
food in Indonesia. It's yes, it quite similar. So yeah, I think in that kind of thing. So the taste and the food, yeah, I can also like the tteokbokki because it's similar to Indonesian food
Mhm,
also.
mhm.
Okay, so another question, I think from the Rabi. As far as you know, Korean wave itself has now a special characteristic about the culture. That's why Korean wave itself can go spread globally. So can do Indonesian culture do that too to go global as the Korean self? As far as you know, Indonesian has a lot of local culture and is very unique characteristic.
I would think so. First, I think it's better to make foreigners to enjoy Indonesian food first, because food
Mm,
is very important.
yeah.
By having food together, we can begin our talk and
Talk.
chat about each other's culture. So, if Indonesian students go overseas to the foreign
Mm,
universities, why don't Indonesian people invite foreign students to over to their home to prepare
yeah.
the Indonesian food first? I think food is very important.
Yeah. Okay. So food is one of the it's called that we have the same, for example, and then you can yeah, yeah, in communication we have to see the common with
That's
us,
right.
right?
Like
Okay.
tteokbokki.
Yeah, like tteokbokki, yeah, and also have yeah, maybe in Indonesia, I think in Sunda it's more like it's called in this yeah, it's we call it in Sunda is cilok.
Mm.
It's more, yeah, more similar like tteokbokki. That's
And also, Indonesian satay is very popular in Korea.
oh,
Satay.
satay is very popular in
Yeah,
Korea.
Korea. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's nice. uh, Yeah, I think we have a lot of yeah, 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 in Indonesia also Korean food is very starting popular here. Restaurant and then the instant noodle like samyang and
Mhm.
so on.
Mhm.
That's pretty popular in Indonesia.
Mhm.
Okay, so I think the next question. Okay. Okay, it is from Rafael. I have a question for you. For some Indonesian people can speak Korean. Even Indonesian people know about Korean than the Korean people itself. What Prof. Dubu think of that? There's a
Oh,
question.
okay.
Oh yeah.
Um, I once tried to learn Indonesian language when I was in America in 2012. And then it was a language exchange. And I found out the Indonesian student in America. So I suggested her to exchange each other. But unfortunately, she didn't study hard. so, so as time goes by, I also lost my interest in Indonesian languages. So I know that there is a gap between Indonesian people learning Korean and Korean people learning Indonesian. But if we try to exchange each other, maybe more Koreans can learn Indonesian. And also, one of the strengths of Indonesian language is easy to learn. I heard from my Indonesian research professor told me that maybe Indonesian language is one of the most easiest language in the world to learn. If you study hard in 6 months, you can at least enjoy basic conversation with Indonesian people. But Korean language is one of the hardest language category. But I have a plan to learn Indonesian again next time. So when I learn Indonesian, I will be the ambassador of Indonesian language in Korea.
Okay, so Indonesian language is easier to learn
Than Korea.
than Korea. Yeah, but now because the song and the drama, so I also learn a bit of Korean language also. So that is
Thank you very much.
Yeah, but yeah, I think if the writing I is I can read the writing, but pronunciation like 안녕하세요 and so on in the Korean movie, it made me learn a little bit much about the Korean language.
Terima kasih.
Okay, Professor Ken, this is a question from Javier. Professor Ken, manhwa beat manga. What do you think?
I think it is not easy for manhwa to beat manga because manga has been foreign countries for almost 100 years already. So although Korean webtoon and manhwa are gaining popularity these days, I know that, but it is not easy to beat Japanese manga. It is my honest reply.
Yeah, because yeah, it's more older than manhwa, and Japanese manga is more. Yeah, in Indonesia also, when I was little, there is Japanese manga and cartoon and so on. So yeah, I think it takes time and really good.
I think it takes more than 30
Yeah.
years.
Okay, so we have a live. There's a one raised hand. Diki, do you want to ask question? Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Professor Dubusim. The presentation really insightful. For me personally, I really like K-drama. I watched several of them. And one of the questions that I want to ask is, we know that K-drama is known as their story that really similar with our experience in everyday life, that depicts the story of our experience in everyday, and that's what makes people like and relatable. And my question is that also the factors that most people like it? But right now we know that Korean culture start to produce like the American thing, like the fantasy and unrealistic, like Avengers, The Walking Dead. We know that the Squid Game is not realistic, not really like everyday life, right? But that's one of the questions that I want to ask. Is that the relatable story, the authentic story that depicts the story of our everyday life, that they give a lot of factors in why people like it?
I think Squid Game is not about everyday life, but Squid Game has a lesson about our neoliberal capitalist system. More and more people are worrying about their status in this competitive society. And although in reality, we only lose job, we are not being killed by other people, but by watching Squid Game, we realize that our current our current reality is not stable, is not safe. So although we cannot easily change our reality, by understanding, by watching those kind of shows, well, it is understanding our true reality is the beginning of our making future better. So at least Squid Game provide us some kind of lifelong lesson. So that is one of the biggest thing and biggest thing by which Squid Game is popular around the world. Hope. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you. Kamsahamnida.
Thank you very much. Terima kasih.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Professor. We have two more two more last question. I think this is one from Gladicia. What do you think about some Indonesian people become a K-pop idol member like Dita? Did they mind it? Thank you.
I think he's good. If you carefully listen to K-pop, the K-pop music is very similar to American pop music, especially black music, R&B and hip hop. And I'm not sure whether how much hip hop is popular in Indonesia. As Korea learned from America, Indonesia can learn from K-pop, and then by that way, Indonesian music can be more commercially popular within Indonesia and outside of Indonesia as well. And by this way, Indonesia can adapt their own new style. So learning from foreign culture is not losing ourselves. We are, in the way, re-beginning to think our own culture as well. So I think it's a good thing.
Okay, so that's good. Okay, so I think this is the last question. One thing of that discussed about the factor that support the spread of Hallyu was the ease of access of its content, especially when compared to entertainment content from Japan. Meanwhile, among the widely circulated Hallyu content, a lot of it is pirated content. Can you provide your view on content in South Korea? Because in Indonesia, that is often considered as one of the things that makes the media and entertainment industry in Indonesia unable to grow.
Piracy is very important for the everyday life of the producers actually, because as we if I say I'm a bakery seller, if somebody steal my bakery,
Yeah.
I will lose my job. And as far as now, Korean drama makers can make their living by their sales within Korea, but at least if their drama is also sold outside of Korea, it must be turned into their own revenue. This is the justice, and this must be observed by foreign countries as well. So, but realistically, it is very hard to catch those piracies. That is one dilemma. That's why Japanese popular culture industry do not want their culture to be more spread outside. So if you go to YouTube, it is easy to find Korean K-pop music compared to J-pop music. It is because the producers, K-pop producers in Korea, they, at least as of now, don't care about the piracy. But Japanese popular music care too much about piracy. So in the end, Korean pop music is gaining more popularity around the world, but J-pop is getting more and more lesser popular. So there's a good thing and bad thing.
Yeah, I think it's like a two side of money. I
Yes,
think
that's
yeah,
right.
yeah. If the Japanese they don't want to be the content to be yeah be private or doesn't want to spread because of piracy. I think with the piracy, it means yeah in the bad side, yeah you don't have royalty for your yeah your music or your film and so on. But in the other side, it's spread. It means people want that to be accessible, want to
Right.
be more know about the thing. Yeah, it if it yeah usually if that something is in price piracy, it means lots of people want that, right? In the in the yeah in the logic, right?
Right.
Because yeah the piracy pirate the content because there is lots of people that want to see that content, for example, like that. So that yeah I think yeah piracy is really hard in especially in the digital age in this media is really hard. But yeah I think that's yeah the two kind of side of the money also. Yeah I think that's all the question. Do you have any closing statement about the Hallyu or the Korean wave, Ms. Dulu?
Based on Hallyu, there are good thing and bad thing as well.
Yeah.
One of the bad thing is that because of the growth of Hallyu, some countries may consider it as an invasion. So, although some of the population within one country loves Hallyu, but policymakers in that country may dislike Hallyu as well. But also, because of the Hallyu, as I said in the beginning, Indonesia or Thailand or Japan, those other Asian countries get a lesson from Hallyu that if Korean can
Yeah.
do, we can do the same. Although it will be hard, but we can try. That kind of lesson can be shared among Asian countries. So for the past 100 or 500 years, Asia has always been a receiving end of global culture. But from 21st century, along with the Korean culture or Chinese culture or Japanese manga, Asian culture are trying to becoming bigger and bigger. And I think this will be the beginning of the further Asian culture wave. Hope Indonesia can do the
Okay.
same.
Yeah, hope we can learn from the other country, from Korea, from Japan, I think from China that yeah like China the movie also in Japan like from the film manga or and so on. Yeah, from Korea we can learn about the Hallyu or the culture also. Yeah, I think yeah, I think most in Indonesia we have a diverse culture. One of the problem in Indonesia, so we doesn't have I don't think main culture because we have island country and a lot of culture. So I think when people I think foreign people that see Indonesia, they tend to see Bali, right? Yeah, Bali. They know Bali, but they didn't know about Indonesia. Because we are very diverse, so when we are wants to, I think we want to show the people the identity of Indonesia. Actually, we get confused because if we what's called if we push one ethnic culture is not represent of Indonesia, because we have so many ethnic culture. So I think yeah, this one problem of Indonesia, that I think that we then have one main culture to can be exposed to see the world. Oh, this is Indonesian, for example, like that. So that's maybe yeah, the problem from Indonesia to we have too many. Yeah, we grateful for many culture, but when we go to international, they cannot see what is the Indonesian culture. For example, from the clothes or the culture, the main culture of Indonesia. Okay, thank you, Prof. Dubushim, for the
Terima
enlighten
kasih.
us. Terima kasih for enlighten us with the Korean wave. I hope Indonesian people also can be the same like an Asian. We can show our culture to the world. Thank you, Professor Dubushim.
Terima kasih.
Good day.
Bye-bye.
Terima kasih. Bye-bye. Okay, thank you for the lecture. And now I present to the MC. Okay.
Thank you to the speakers and moderators of the general lecture with the theme Korean Fever, learning how and why Korean media and entertainment industry soaring through the world. Hopefully, we all get new insight and useful knowledge. We come to the end of the event. Once again, thank you very much to the speaker, moderator, committee, and of course, all participants who have listened to the event from beginning to end. Finally, I am Andini Putri as the MC, and goodbye. Thank you. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. Annyeonghaseyo.
Terima kasih.
Terima kasih, annyeonghaseyo.
지금 화려해 team makes no sense. You couldn't get a dollar out of me. 자 오늘 밤이야 난 독을 품은 꽃네 혼을 뺏은 다음 Look what you made us do. 천천히 널 잠재울 fire. 잔인할만큼 아름다워. I bring the pain like this. Stop crank venom. This stop crank venom. This stop crank venom. Get 'em, get 'em, get 'em. Straight till you don't like. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Straight till you don't like. Taste that pink venom. Taste that pink venom. Taste that pink venom. Get 'em, get 'em, get 'em. Straight till you don't like. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Straight till you don't like. Black pen and ink, got bodies like Rambo. Rest in peace, please light up a candle. This the life of a vandal, messed up, and I'm still in saline. Decided crime, so it wouldn't be me. Diamond shining, driving silence, I don't mind it. I'm riding, flying private side by side with a pilot. Up in the sky and I'm wild and silent on him, and there's no chance. Cause we got bodies on bodies like just a slow dance. 자 오늘 밤이야 난 조금